So now dear friends, now it is time to discuss what is melting, what do we know the melting process, and what is the melting point. Now how can you define the melting? Exactly melting means, at first let me clarify, means when you apply the heat energy to any substance, then the substance has nature to expand. Means the material of the substance expand on heating and contract on cooling. So now here melting means exactly the solid starts to expand and change into the next form, next state of matter, that is liquid, and the application of heat. So dear student, here you can see the definitions. The process of conversion means here changing, the process of conversion of solid state of matter into liquid state. Now how? By heating or on heating, you may write, is called melting. Means solid changes into liquid on heating is known as melting process. Now what is melting point? Because we should not forget there are different kind of solid materials in our surroundings. So different solids has different melting point. Means ice melts at its own melting point, iron melts at its own melting point, wax melts at its own melting point. Even though they are solid, means each and every solid has its own distinct melting point. मतलब अपना अपना मतलब हर एक solid का अपना अपना melting point होते हैं. Here you can see the temperature at which a solid substance melts is called its melting point. मतलब किस टेम्परेचर में वो सॉलिड सब्सटेंस मेल्ट होकर के लिक्विड बन रहा है, उसी टेम्परेचर को हम लोग बोलते हैं मेल्टिंग पॉइंट. गॉट द पॉइंट? सो इट्स एब्रिविएटेड फॉर्म कैन बी रिटन एज MP. MP means here melting point. So here example of the melting point, you can see melting point of ice is 0 degree C or 32 degree Fahrenheit or 273 Kelvin. Earlier I told you 0 degree C, 32 degree IF and 273 K are the same temperatures. Means it is the melting point of ice, sorry. So melting point of ice is 0 degree C if you express in centigrade or Celsius scale. Got the point? Melting point of wax is 63 degrees C. You might have seen candles are made of wax. Now wax melts into liquid, means water and CO2 at 63 degrees Celsius. Next, melting point of iron is 1535 degrees C. Now, what conclusions can be drawn? Because we have already known different solid materials means different melting point. Means each and every solid materials has its own melting point. So this indicates, this variable melting point of different solids material indicate exactly it is the measure of the molecular force of attraction between them. Because each and every solids, they have some molecules, and in between that molecules they have the molecular force of attraction, that is the force of cohesion or the cohesive force. Now the melting point is measure of the molecular force of attraction that is present in that particular solids. More MP, जिसका melting point ज़्यादा है, it means you have to understand that substance is more harder, and if the melting point is lesser, then you have to understand that substance is very very soft. Got the point? इसीलिए तो ice टूट जाता है, break हो जाता है. But when you suppose when you strike your hand, one hand to the ice blocks, then ice block start to break. Why? Because molecular force of attraction of the ice solid is lesser than that of comparison of the iron. When you heat an iron, does it break with your hand force? I don't think that it breaks. Means melting point of iron is here 1535 degrees C. It indicates that iron is much more harder, much more tougher than the ice and the wax. Got the point? Means higher the melting point means that substance is more tough, more solid or more stronger or more rigid, you can understand. Means lesser the melting point, it indicates that that particular substance is a bit soft or a bit you can understand brittle in nature, means it can break with a small amount of force too. So dear student, I think up to this you have understood what is melting point, what is melting point of solid materials and what is the process of melting. Simply you have to remember the conversion of solid into liquid on heating is known as melting, and the temperature at which the solids melt into the liquid, that temperature is known as its melting point. So dear student, I think up to that topic you have been well clear.